Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity Podcast, episode 279. And also, we have to say Happy New Year because today is the first episode of 2026. It is the 2nd of January 2026. And as we said last week, if you listen to the Boxing Day episode with Chris the Beef Beetham, this is the second of our sort of trio of strongman guests in a row, and we are going to be joined by someone very special, joining us all the way from southern Maryland on the east coast of America. But first of all, I'm going to touch base with Mr. Peter Lance. How are you doing, Pete? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How was your Christmas and New Year, James? How was it?
They were brilliant. Thank you. They were really
What did you get up to? What happened? Tell us what happened.
I will also say that today if you're watching on YouTube, Pete and I have got fancy Health Oddity backdrops, which may or may not be reading straightforward or reflected in reverse. We're not sure.
It'll be fine. What's great about it, what it does mean is I don't have to paint my wall anymore. Because the wall's a bit manky, but you can't see it now, so that's
they
fine.
look good, don't they? They look if they're not right this episode, we'll get them right for next episode.
It's great.
But
I just want to say as well, our guest is just like with what we've just talked about before we started recording. He reminded me of the song Wichita Lineman, which is one of those songs that I can't listen to without making me cry because it reminds me of my old man because he was in country music and he loved Glenn Campbell. So, and he died like 22 years ago this year. Yeah, so it reminded me of that song. So I'm going to have to go listen to it and have a good cry later as well. So thank you.
Well, we are joined. We Happy New Year. Yeah, we are joined, like I say, from Southern Maryland, east coast of the USA, by Mr. Levi Strong. How are you doing, Levi? You okay?
I'm doing well. How about you guys? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Now, first of all, I have to ask because I mentioned this to Chris Beetham last week. And I know that when I met Levi recently out in Iceland, where he actually won the Magnus for Magnuson Classic 2025. Absolutely did amazingly well. Won the first two events, kind of. And I think it's fair to say, kind of, it might not have been a surprise to him, but he kind of came out of nowhere and just people were like, what? Where has this guy come from? He's just like, awesome. I think you won the Magnus for Magnuson Classic is it Gimli or Gimli in Canada?
Gimli. Yeah.
And then that kind of gave you the qualification, I think, to go to Iceland, didn't it? And then you went to Iceland and you won there as well, which was amazing. And yes, and anyway, what I was going to say was Colin Bryce from Giants Live doing the commentary. He kept saying, and here he is, Levi Strong from the USA. And he goes, that can't be his real name. He can't really be called Levi Strong. Is that actually your real name?
That's my real name. And funny enough, my initials are LBS, like pounds.
Okay.
Have you read? I've never read this book, but Freakonomics is the thing about how your name can determine what you're going to be in life and all these sorts of things, can't it? So, yeah. Call your kid Levi Strong. I mean, what's going to happen there, eh?
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, that's because Colin kept saying. I was watching some of the replay on the official Strongman, and he was going, "That can't be his real name. He's got to be called like Cyril Smithers or something. He's not Levi Strong, But it's fantastic. So, yeah, so Levi, I mean, you are like you say, you're up. I think you said you're about 50 miles away from like Washington State, I think you said.
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. Oh, not Washington. Washington State's the other side, isn't it? Sorry.
It's all the way
yeah. So yes, I have been there as well, so I should know that. But yeah, Washington, D.C. So yeah, Levi, I suppose really, because I don't know really how long you've been involved in strongman at the level you have. I think it's maybe in the last sort of few years. But obviously this win has kind of really put you up there, and lots more people probably know about you now than did just a few months ago, and I know that obviously with Colin heavily involved in Giants Live and World's Strongest Man and all that sort of thing, it was a great and Darren Sadler was there as well, and Lawrence Charlet and all these guys to sort of perform as you did out in Iceland really kind of was a great place to do it in front of all these kind of people involved in strongman at the highest levels around the world. But yeah, do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and I suppose kind of growing up, as you were kind of getting involved in maybe sport or lifting or yeah, kind of how you became the Levi Strong who is sitting on our podcast today,
Gotcha, gotcha. So I am one of four. I'm the younger boy. I'm the third child of four. Um, my dad's a blue collar guy. He's a first generation lineman, and we always worked. It was like, hey, it's not, do you want to go outside and help your dad? It's like, no, come outside and help your dad, you know? So I think that from a young age, we learned to work for what we wanted. And my dad used to always tell us, even in sports and in life and everything, that you can have whatever you want as long as you're willing to put in the work for it and the sacrifices. And so my brother's a true testament to that as well, but he took it to the other end of like academics, and he's an engineer for Chevron and stuff like that. And I went the whole sports route, and I played some pretty high level high school basketball, and then I went and played some college basketball. And then I got into a trade, which was line work, followed in my dad's footsteps. And then a few years went by, and then I had a buddy of mine. I had quit lifting. I still did like insanity videos. I don't know if you know what those are, but like
Yeah.
the little
Yeah,
cardio
what's his name?
videos.
The guy who does Insanity. Can you remember his name?
Uh,
Is it Joe something or
uh,
uh
I can't remember.
something? It is, yeah, it's quite a short sort of name, but it's the guy, isn't it, who does
Yeah,
Insanity? Yeah, the one.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I used to do those, and then I worked with a guy that told me about how he was a bodybuilder and stuff, and asked me if I wanted to lift with him. I was like, yeah, I'll come lift with you. That kind of took off, so I did that for about 6 months. And then it's funny because I hear people say this all the time, but I watched the documentary, the Eddie Hall documentary. I watched Born Strong,
yep,
and I was like, man, that looks pretty cool. I'd probably be pretty good at that. So I got to looking up strongman competitions. I was doing some CrossFit on the side too, and I saw where there was a local competition coming up, Alabama Strongest Man. So I went and did that in novice division. I got second. I was like, man, I could probably be pretty good at this. So I stuck my head down, started training, and won like my next like six shows. And then hired a coach, which was Hannah Lindsay at the time. And I went to nationals soon after that. Had a pretty good injury there. I tore my patellar at that nationals. And
mm,
then I said, I'm gonna go pro next year. In America we do pros.
mm,
And I took off like 8 months and just trained and rehab, and came back and went pro. And that would have been 2022.
mm.
And then after that I was like, all right, I'm gonna win the Arnold Amateur. I can win the Arnold Amateur. So I put my head down. I trained hard for that show. And I went in, I messed up the first event. I dropped the farmers. I had never dropped a set of farmers before. In
Mm.
training, I was expecting to win that event. And I dropped the farmers, and I was so shocked that during the event I dropped them and I looked at my hands. And everybody's like, pick them back up, pick them back up. And I was so in shock. I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
I had a terrible day. It was honestly the worst I've ever competed at a competition. I ended up getting like
What
seven.
year? What year was that at the Arnold? At the
That would have
Arnold?
been 2023.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And it just went terrible. And after that, that one kind of hurt me, hurt my pride, I guess. I laid
Mm,
off of the sport for a while, lost a lot of weight. And then I was like, you know what? I'm a pro now. I'm going to do America's Strongest Man. Just see how it goes. I hadn't competed in any pro contests yet. I got seventh, and I beat some names that I looked up to, and I
mm,
thought they were big names. So I was like, man, I think I'm on the right track. I'm going to stick with it.
mm.
And so after that, they did a thing called America's Strongest State, and they
Yeah.
picked all of the team captains from each state, and I was Mississippi's head captain, and we had to have like weight class people and women on our team, and everybody had to do X amount of events and stuff like that. And everybody was kind of downplaying Mississippi because we didn't have any pros. I was the first pro ever out of Mississippi, and I kept telling people that my wife was going to go pro the next year. I was like, no, I'm going to help her go pro. She's going to go pro. Well, we ended up getting third in the country at America's Strongest State. Beat a lot of states that were talking down on us and stuff, and that felt good. But then shortly after that, my wife went pro. Then we did America's together. I was expecting to podium at America's 2024. And right before my prep was going well, I was sitting at like 395 pounds, a
Because
good 395,
how tall are you, Levi?
6'8",
6'8". Yeah, yeah,
six
yeah.
eight,
Okay.
barefooted, no shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was expecting a podium, and then right before that, America's Strongest Man, two hurricanes hit back to back. Hurricane Helene hit the Carolinas, and then Hurricane Milton hit Florida. So I worked like 3 weeks of storm work right before that. And storm work just isn't great because it's 16-hour days. You're working real hard. You're not eating enough food. I lost like 25 pounds right before that
Mm.
show, and I didn't do any training.
Because just quickly to say to the listeners and the viewers, the watchers, the viewers, before you came on, I said because I saw in your bio that you were used to be a lineman, and I just
Mhm.
assumed that because I don't know anything about American football, but I know that a lineman is a position in American football,
Yeah,
and you're
I
obviously
get that a lot.
a huge guy. So I was like, oh, you used to be a lineman in American football. He said, no, he used to be a lineman, like the actual job of basically the power lines and stuff. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So when you get called out for these emergencies, power lines have gone down, all this, and you're out there trying to fix it in, like you say, storm conditions. And
hmm
yeah, wow, okay. So you were doing this back-to-back disasters, really, and lost
Yeah.
25 pounds, yeah?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
walked into that Americas and they weighed me. I weighed right at 370.
Mm,
So I'd lost 25 pounds. I didn't do terrible, but against that level of guys, you just can't not be ready.
mm,
You know? So I ended up getting smoked. And that one didn't hit my pride as much because I knew I was stronger than what I showed.
mm,
But after that, I wanted to qualify. Well, right before that, I went and did a OSG regional
mm.
because 2024 they said we're gonna pick one person, whoever wins one of the regionals for OSG, to go and do the Magnus. And I've been wanting to do the Magnus, and so I went and won Southeast Strongest Man for OSG, and I didn't get picked. They picked Andrew Burton out of Texas, who was deserving. Andrew's a great guy. I know I've known him for a
Yeah,
long time.
we've had Andrew on the show as well. Yeah,
Friend
because
of the show,
friend of the
yes.
show, Andrew. Yeah,
Yeah,
America's he was the world's strongest firefighter, wasn't
yeah,
he? And then I think he won the Arnold Amateurs this year, didn't he?
yeah. This
Because then
past
he's
year.
going into the or last year, so he's going into
hmm
last year, 2025. We're 2026 now, aren't we? Yes, well done.
So I met
Yeah.
Andrew at my third competition ever. It was his first competition. He
Mm,
actually taught me how to put on my deadlift suit. I still put it on the exact same way today. So
okay.
that's a pretty cool thing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yep.
So just for the English listeners and the people who work in, so you said you weighed in at like 370 pounds, yeah?
hmm
And you said, this was kind of light for you. And just for the listeners over this kind of side of the pond, as it were, it's a tiny 26 and a half stone. Is what you is what you weighed in at. So that's a big 6'8", 26 and a half stone. But like you
Yeah.
say, you'd lost 25 pounds and all the rest of it. Wow. Okay. So yeah. So you knew Andrew then from, like you say, you met him. It was your third show. It was his first show, and you obviously get on quite well with Andrew. You know him quite well, I presume. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny too that you bring up Lyman because I've actually made a professional arena football team before too on a whim. I was also working with another guy that played collegiate wide receiver, and he told me about a tryout that was coming up for a professional arena team. And I was like, okay, I'll go try it if you do it. I showed up, everybody's like decked out. I don't know if you know about like American college football, but we lived in the Southeastern Conference. So everybody's wearing like LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia gear. I showed up in an Under Armour t-shirt,
Yeah.
and me and one other guy are the only two that made the team. His name was Josh Robinson. He was the all SEC running back at the time. But I just thought that was funny. I was at the time I weighed in at like 310, 315 pounds, and I ran a 4.9 flat 40. I was
Mm,
trying out for defensive end, but I've always been able to pick up sports pretty quickly and learn pretty quickly.
mm.
So Yeah. So I was a lineman for a little bit.
Excellent. And then, so you qualified for, so how did you mentioned a competition just there. Was it through, no, so through the OSGs, which is the official Strongman Games, just for listeners who aren't familiar with that. You you obviously had to qualify to do the Magnus for Magnuson Classic in, and the Gimli one is in Canada, isn't it?
Mhm.
So what was the comp that qualified you for that? Because you said the OSG one, you kind of thought you'd qualify,
So,
but they gave it to
so
someone else.
right before America's, about the same time as I did that OSG qualifier 2024, I hired a new coach named Alec Pagan. He runs RPE 11,
Mm,
but he also coaches like Lucas Hatton, and at the time he was coaching Inez Carrasquillo and
mm,
stuff like that. So I hired him. I'd known him because I went pro with Lucas the same year Lucas went pro.
mm,
And but I hired him and he knew Magnus. And I had applied for the Gimli competition a couple years in a row. And I told him, I was like, I really want to qualify for the Magnus. I think I can do it. And he asked me if I filled out the application, and I said, yeah. So he messaged, I think he messaged, I don't know if he talked to Magnus or what, but he said, hey, I have a guy that's could do well at this show. Why don't you give him a shot? And they said, yeah, we'll give him a shot. So they sent me an invite. And yep, I actually didn't even train for the Magnus Gimli. I had a World Stonelifting Championship that was 2 weeks before that I was prepping for. And I ended up getting second at that show. And then I was kind of on the fence to even go to Gimli, honestly, because I was like, man, I haven't trained for this show. I don't want to go all the way to Canada and not meet my goal. So I was like, you know what, I'll go anyway. And I brought my kids because I was like, if anything else, we'll make it a little vacation.
yeah.
So it
What
was
is the
pretty
thing with Gimli?
special.
What is the connection with Gimli? Because I see there's like a massive like Viking statue there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a Viking festival they do every year there, and they actually call it New Iceland.
Oh, is that where people went across from Iceland into
I
into
believe
Canada,
so.
where the Vikings kind of went across into America? Wow. Okay, because I've seen the obviously it's a huge Viking statue, isn't it? There where they do
Hmm.
the competition and things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh
pretty cool.
wow.
It's a pretty cool setup they have there, and it's really well ran.
Mm,
It's a very fast competition. I think we did 6 events in like 4 hours.
mm,
It was very fast. So you have
yeah.
to be in shape to do that contest because after like that third or fourth event, you're still breathing hard, trying to get warm up for the next event.
Yeah. So you won that though. You won that. That
Yep.
was that was earlier this year, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that obviously qualified you for the event in Iceland.
Hmm.
Yeah. Wow. So was that the first time that you had been to Iceland when you went over this
That was my
year?
first time to Iceland. Yep. I
And
really
what
like Iceland.
yeah, what did you yeah, I was gonna say, what did you make of it? I mean, like you say, because you originally, like people can you were originally from the kind of the deep south,
Hmm.
and I think you said like near New Orleans, and
Hmm.
now you live up kind of in the northeast
Hmm.
of America, but obviously the deep south is hot, isn't it, down there all the
Very hot.
time, all the time. So because I know that when Andrew Burton, when we had him on, when he went to, because he's from Texas, isn't he? So
Hmm.
he's like used to extreme heat. So the cold there and the snow and everything else. Well, there wasn't snow there this time when we were there, but last year there was snow and everything. How did you I think you said due to your work, the kind of work that you've done going out to emergencies, being a lineman and stuff, you've worked in some pretty extreme temperatures, both hot and cold, haven't you, over the years?
Yeah, I've worked in some pretty cold conditions. I've worked in plenty of ice storms and stuff like that where there's a ton of snow and ice everywhere and but I've never had to compete in that.
Mm,
So there's one thing being bundled up and working and then having to strip down to actually compete. And it's so hard because after like even like the Hoosful Stone was actually the only event I even sweated on. And
yeah.
I stripped down right after I carried the stone because I started sweating real hard. And I didn't want my clothes to be wet and freeze to me.
Yeah.
So I stripped down to try to dry off before I put my clothes back on. And I almost missed the interview after because I went and sat in the car to try to warm up.
Yeah, yeah. Because that was the very first event, wasn't it? On the first day, the first
Hmm.
morning of the competition, and obviously Villiers was there, wasn't he? Who did hold the world record, um, and then I think Paddy got the world record at Iceland's Strongest Man this year when he was out there as a guest, kind of as a guest competitor, if you like. Um, and then you went out and they said actually it's really difficult going out first because you don't know what you've got to try and beat. You've just got to go as far as you can. But last year, because I was there as last year as well, a few people, couldn't even really get a good grip and lift the stone. It was a lot cold. It was like minus
Yeah.
15 last year, and it was icy as well. The floor was very slippery, and some people only got like they just about picked it up, or they only got a couple of meters. But when you picked it up, the very first competitor, and I think you went about 2.5 times round the pen, didn't you?
Yeah.
And set a really, really good distance, which obviously no one beat. But how's that for the very first event to do such an iconic event and be first out with not knowing how far you had to go? I mean, in your mind, were you thinking I'm going for the world record here?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
I told so funny story, a couple things with that. I told my coach jokingly a few weeks in advance, I was like, yeah, if they ask for a volunteer to go first, I'll go first. Because I was like, I'll set the tone and let everybody know that why I'm here, you know? Yeah, that's kind of a joke, I was just trying to get myself psyched up. And he came up to me, he's like, hey, you're going first. I was like, really? I was like, did you volunteer me? And and then I also told one of my best friends, my best friend, he lives in South Mississippi. I told him last minute, I was like, man, I really want you to come. I was like, I really want you to be there. And so he booked a last minute flight from South Mississippi all the way to Iceland. And he showed up probably about 30 minutes before the first event. And I
Wow. And
told him, I
what was
said,
your
if you
what was your
come, I told him, I
what,
said, if you come, I'm going to win and I'm going to break the world record. And I told him
oh,
where I wanted him to stand. And I was like, I need you to be in my ear, you know?
mm, mm,
And I knew I could go 2 laps without stopping because I'd done it in training. And but I knew I would have to regrip.
mm.
But I wasn't expecting the stone to be as slick as it was. Because in training I could regrip no problem, and I think I could have made that third lap.
So
But
what were
whenever
you
I went to
using?
regrip, it was
Just
so
quickly,
slick.
Levi. What were you using in training? Because obviously you can't use the real Husafell stone because there's only
I
one of
used
them.
I don't know if you've heard of Mike Bardos Power Center.
No, I haven't. No.
Well, he's a fabricator out of Ohio, and he makes some pretty heavy duty equipment. And
Mm,
so whenever I buy equipment, I've been using his stuff because it's just so durable, and I'm hard on equipment. I treat
mm.
my equipment like it's equipment.
Yeah.
And so like
You
my
wouldn't be allowed in
empty,
James's gym.
yeah,
Yeah.
my empty H stone is like 180 pounds, and
Yeah.
so I I have a stack of poles, like power line poles, out in my yard, and I was just carrying it around that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty brutal, but I could regrip it, and it's powder coated, so it have
Mm,
like a little bit of texture on it.
mm,
And so I was worried about carrying the stone, one, because I knew it was going to have ice on it,
mm.
and I wish we would have torched it, because I know
Yeah.
in previous years they've torched it.
Because I think the year before it was actually stuck to the floor.
Hmm.
So they couldn't get it off the floor because it was frozen. So they had to
Is that
actually
because
like
you? Is that because you couldn't lift it, James? You're like, oh, it must be something.
No, but it was actually ice to the floor. They couldn't get it off the
Yeah,
floor because it was literally so cold. So they had to blowtorch to melt some ice so they could actually lift it. Yeah.
they
So
had a layer of ice on it this year, and they were out there with like an ice scraper trying to scrape the ice off.
yeah.
They don't.
Uh,
They don't do that thing, do they? I saw a documentary once, and it was like I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere freezing cold, and the diesel in the truck, like they had these like the diesel um
Just containers kind of things.
yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
they're on the bottom of the truck, and that's obviously what feeds the engine and all that, and it's frozen. So they just got some like stuff wrapped around like cloth wrapped around a stick and set it on fire and kind of like we're underneath it going like
mhm.
trying to warm it
Yeah.
up. It's like you're gonna blow yourself up. They're like, ah, it's fine. It's what we do. We do it every day. It's absolutely mental.
So how did that feel when you to go first? When you first did you get a good pickup? Did you? Because it looked obviously like you did, and you obviously but
Yeah.
when you kind of got it off the floor, you lapped it, you got a good sort of hold or a good because could you link your hands round the other side of? of it?
I
Or
didn't try, but I believe I could.
yeah,
So doing it again in the future, possibly. I think I might buy a replica just so I can practice that. But I didn't want to try something new, not have done it, doing it in training, you know.
Mm.
But after talking to Velius is like, yeah, man, that's the way to do it if you can do it, because he's an expert at the H stone, and he's
yeah,
like, there's so many different techniques you can do, and if you carry it like that, then you'll be able to go way farther.
yeah,
But
Oh,
yeah.
this is
No, that's
interesting.
a.
Then we'll be telling Paddy all this next week. Oh, by the way, he's coming for you.
No, but
Excellent.
that was amazing. So first event, you went out first and you won the event and you just held it the whole way. I think Chris Beetham did really well. I think he came like third in that event.
hmm
Someone else, obviously, I can't remember who came second.
Velius at
Oh,
like
Villiers
80
came. He came
meters or
second.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he came second. Yeah, and then going into the second event, which was at the same venue, which was the
hmm
natural stone lifting, kind of over a bar, wasn't it? And I think there was six stones. I think there was
hmm
three, and then there was another three.
hmm
But again, you I mean, you came out and you won that second because I think with that event, obviously, because you'd won the first event, you went last on the
Yeah,
second event,
huge
didn't you?
advantage.
So you knew exactly what everyone else had done and what you had to do to kind of to get the win there. But
Yeah.
like you say, you are stone lifting is something that's kind of one of your sort of specialties, isn't it? And something that you
Yeah.
love, like you mentioned. So yeah, where does this where did that start? The kind of love of natural stone lifting and things like that.
I just feel like it's a true test of strength. People have been doing it for thousands of years, you know. Anybody can go in the gym and stack a bunch of weight on a bar and lift it, you know. I was like, stones, to me, a 400 stone is harder than an 800 deadlift, and it's
Mm,
cooler. And I
mm.
just think that I will travel to do contests just because they have cool events or different events. I've never been a big fan of contests who do the same 5 events, lift this weight on this bar, you know. I don't know. I feel like stone lifting is a true test of strength. Um, but yeah,
I'm
I
sure you're aware of obviously the Dinny stones in
I was.
Scotland.
yeah,
But have you yeah, we could put a word in for you because if you have you ever been to Scotland before?
I have not.
Because are you aware of the gathering, the Donald Dinny Day that they do every
Yeah,
year in Scotland?
I
Yeah.
am.
Is that
We
something
have
you'd
we
like
have
to
another
do?
guy who runs it.
Any rings kill me because my hands are too big to go in the small ring. So I
Right.
almost have to like
Yeah, but
hold
you
it
just
with less fingers.
do a couple of
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
And that hook grip, oh man. I think I could hold them, but I think that walking with them, people underestimate that so much. It is terrible.
I mean,
It's
I say
terrible.
this, you've only got to pick them up. You don't have to walk.
Yeah.
You've only good, but sorry, Pete,
But
go on.
there's the nickel stones, isn't there, which are slightly
People
lighter,
do
I
walk with
think.
the nickel stones. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah, and
the true record on the Denny's, though, walking is only like 24 feet or something like that.
Yeah, because I think that's held by is it no is it Lawrence Charlet holds that or is it Luke Stoltman or
I think somebody just broke it recently.
yeah, because but we were both up at the Dinny Day at the gathering last August, and we're going to both be there this August. We're traveling up to Scotland for it. But Stevie Shanks, who kind of runs it, has been on the podcast a couple of times and is kind of good friends of ours.
hmm
It would be yeah, that would be an because that event, like you said, you want different events. The way they run the day there, and you've got Jan Todd is there and everything else, and they say Stevie says. I don't want anything on, and it's all outdoors in a field in Scotland. And they
hmm
say, I don't want anything on that field that couldn't have been there 400 years ago,
Yeah.
So everything is stones and wood. And they do like a throwing a stone over a bar, like a one arm
hmm
throw. But the stone is just, they call it like, was it like a monkey fist where they wrap it all in,
yeah.
in rope and there's just a bit of rope
Really?
that you hold on to. I mean, you would love that event.
Yeah,
That would
that
be
is cool.
amazing. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we'll have to have a word with Stevie, see if we can because
Put it
it's the 10th anniversary this in
yeah.
2026 as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Put it
awesome.
this way. I think right, like you said with the Gimli games and then going to the Magnus thing and all that. And I've got this guy, and he just said, "Oh, just yeah, let him in." If your name's Levi Strong, you just what's his name? Levi Strong. Yeah, he's in.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
now you
obvious.
say just won the Magnus Classic out in Iceland,
Yeah.
won the Magnus Classic.
Mhm.
yeah, that would be
I didn't
amazing.
really
I'm gonna
talk to
be
Stevie, but Stevie was at that national the World Championship stone lifting contest I did, and he did
ah.
a seminar. I watched a seminar on the Denny's because he did do a seminar on it.
Because he is, I mean, you like you say, you're 6'8", 370, 80 pounds or whatever. I mean,
Mhm.
Stevie is like, I don't know,
He's the same
five,
age as
five,
me.
5'6" and 170 pounds or
Mhm.
something, isn't he? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But he's done the because obviously his dad Jack Shanks was the first person to lift the Dinnies in the modern era, and yeah, they're great people. Yeah, no, that would be yeah. So I think Scotland must be in your future. I think to go and do some of the stones there. That would be
Mhm.
incredible. Yeah. Anyway, the next event, sorry, the stone over bar. I mean, some people really sort of not struggled with it, but it's not easy. Obviously, all the stones are heavy, they're awkward, it's cold, you're outside in the elements.
Mhm.
But you took that event as well, and were you fairly confident going into that second event, having won the first?
I was, and it was a huge advantage getting to watch everybody else go first because those stones weren't really that heavy to me, but they were so awkward. Those were very hard stones to lift because they were just not balanced at all, and
Mm,
they didn't have great handhold, so you had to have like a lot of crush power, a lot of hand strength to hold them,
mm,
and
mm,
it was definitely an advantage not having a rush because I knew what I had to do.
mm.
So yeah, I think if I wouldn't have won the H stone, then I would have had to go a lot faster on that load,
Yeah,
and it may or may not have went my way. You know what I mean? But it was
yeah.
just a huge advantage getting to go last and knowing what had to get done.
Yeah. And then I think next up was like the block press back up at the
Mhm.
Husafell Hotel, wasn't it? And that
Yep.
was how did you do in that one? I can't remember where you placed in that.
I got like eighth on that event. I actually thought I was gonna place a lot higher on that because I'm a decent block presser, but I only have one block, and I'll train like clusters and stuff, but I don't really train it for speed. And like I'm confident in like a 300 plus stone press, and I'm confident in like a 300 block and stuff like that. But just the speed of these guys really shocked me because I thought that third block was gonna knock a lot of guys down. So I was like, I'm not gonna go fast. As long as I hit the third block, it'll be fine, even if I
Mm.
don't have time for the fourth block.
Yeah,
And that's what
yeah.
happened. I ran out of time for the fourth block, but I was like, man, these guys, they were just smoking.
It was yeah, and it was getting cold as well, wasn't it? You know what I mean? It was icy, and those they were metal blocks, weren't they, as well, that you were picking up with your bare
I was trying to
hands
stay
and
off of the mats because the mats were really slick.
yeah.
And whenever I cleaned the block up, I wasn't loading my heels enough, and I kept stepping forward onto the mat, and I was like, no, I need to get off of that mat. It's too slick.
And the final event of the day was probably something I don't think have you ever done a swimming pool loading event
Oh,
before and you're like,
no, but I love
okay,
that
Oh, right.
event. I think that is
Right.
such a cool event.
yeah, yeah. How was
I
that
saw this,
doing?
James.
Yeah,
You shared this on Instagram, right? And I was like, "What
yeah.
the hell is going on here?" Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
What was
Because
it?
we had Colin Bryce and Lawrence Charlet sat in the hot tub with a beer with their microphones doing the commentary,
Yeah.
and it was the thermic baths. The pools were really warm, weren't they? All the steam was coming off of
Hmm.
them, and it was like there was two loaded barrels on sitting sort of halfway along the swimming pool, and the guys all started from one end, had to swim or run or walk, get themselves to the middle, pick up one barrel, drag it, take it out the pool, go back, get the other one. But I mean, it looked really awkward for a lot of people, really
Hmm.
struggled with, because I think it was Chris Beetham said, because he had to do that event back in the summer where he did Iceland's Strongest Viking, where he qualified for the Magnus Classic. So they did that event. And he said that the water, when the barrel's underwater, obviously it's got buoyancy. And as soon
Hmm.
as the barrel comes out of the water, it's like you're suddenly hit by a truck because you suddenly got the weight there, which you
It
didn't have
is.
before. So, yeah, how was that for you? I mean, you obviously can't really, I
So
presume
in
you
warm-ups,
can't
no
really
one
train
really
for it.
had a technique in warm-ups,
Yeah.
so I just tried like five or six different techniques, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna be aggressive, you know? And so I just squeezed it like any other load. I was like, I just have to be really aggressive with it coming out of the water because it's so much lighter in the water that whenever that weight does hit you, it is like a truck, and it's just like, oh my gosh. So if you're not just super aggressive with that load, then when that weight hits you, it's just gonna crush you.
Yeah.
So my goal was to get there and get it out of the water as fast as possible. And I know it sounds
Yeah.
simple, but
I think it was like either Loz or Colin Bryce was saying before you try to lift it, you should push it down a
bounce.
bit and
Yeah,
then
I
it will come
bounced.
up and it might get a
Yeah,
bit of momentum to help you get it out of the water. Yeah. Did you do
Physics.
yeah.
that? Was that?
Physics,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Physics. Yeah. Did
Some
you
guys
do
like
that?
Lucas. Lucas is so strong that Lucas like just grabbed the lip and just like hooked his other arm under and just like picked it up. I'm like,
Yeah.
my arm would never.
I don't know how heavy the barrels were. They were probably, 'cause it's difficult. They were filled with water. Were they around like,
I'm guessing mid threes.
yeah, I was going to say about 150 kilos, 180
Yeah,
kilos, something like that.
yeah.
But like you say, and they were plastic barrels, so they were
Hmm.
soaking wet,
They
obviously
were
as well. So
slick. Yeah,
they're
very
in the
slick.
water, so they're wet. So trying to kind of get hold of them as well, and they didn't
And
have
running in the pool, I
handles.
kept slipping in the pool whenever I was trying to run because I carried my barrels backwards and I
Yeah,
kept slipping backwards a little bit every like second or third step.
but
Yeah.
that was obviously like you said. And did you enjoy that event?
That's probably my favorite event, honestly. I think I could cut seconds off of that if I did it again, just from learning a few tricks from doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So I would love to see that event again in the future. That's a cool event.
Yeah, because I think that was something that Magnus said it was a real like old school event that they used to do, 20, 30 years ago. And he's just brought it back, So it was and then that was the last event of the day, wasn't it? So then everyone just kind of chilled out in the swimming pool and in the hot tub
Mhm.
and then could relax.
And a lot
Um
of guys were mad about it because they were like, oh, it gives such tall guys a huge advantage. The guy that won it was probably the shortest competitor.
who was the one who won it, that one?
Christian.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but he did it again. He did it in the summer, didn't he? Because he
Yeah,
won
he's done it
the
before.
yeah he won the Iceland Strongest Viking. So he did that in the summer. But yeah, a little shout out to Christian, who's he's Iceland's strongest guy, isn't he,
Mhm.
on Instagram? But he is a solid. He's a
I think
solid.
if he doesn't triple in the H stone, he would have been pushing podium because he was impressive.
Oh God, yeah, because he was stood. I was stood right on the corner where he went, and he just caught his foot on like a little bit of the kind of the ground where it raised up,
Mm.
and he was easy. He wasn't struggling to carry it. He just stubbed his toe almost on a bit of raised ground, and kind of lost his footing. Yeah, dearie me. And then we moved, didn't we? We went all the way back in towards the city, and then the next day, first event was the deadlift, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was and that looked like that was an axle deadlift. I think was it 330 kilos, was it? I want to say. It was do you know you put it out in pounds, don't you?
I think it was like 725 or 730 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, sorry, we're talking across 730. Let me have a look. Yeah, 730 divided by 2.2 equals 331 kilos. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yes, so say 330 kilos. But the axle was rusty, wasn't it? And it wasn't smooth because I know that Lucas Hatton said that because usually you can sometimes slide something up your legs, or he
Mhm.
had, if you've got leggings on, you can kind of slide it up. But he said it just wasn't sliding at all, because it was kind
Yeah.
of they're kept outside those axles and they're just kind of,
Sounds like
very rough.
Gary's equipment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For the disabled strongman, but he keeps it all in the back garden and then just brings it along. It's like there's like the Atlas stones have got moss growing out of them and stuff.
I know. Do me. So yeah, how many reps did you get on that on the deadlift?
I pulled five. I think I would have been good for more, but I didn't know the number to beat. In my head, I was only worried about beating Jordy, who was next to me,
Mm,
because I knew I needed to get those points on Jordy.
mm.
So I knew that I had to outpull him. I didn't know how many he had pulled. I knew it was either three or four, so I just went ahead and pulled the fifth rep.
Yeah.
But I think if I would have known that Lucas had only pulled six, I think I would have at least tried to match him, you know?
I was going to say, I think you came second in that event, did you? Behind
Yeah.
Lucas Hatton, who got six, and you got
And the thing
five.
is, it was supposed to be like a 12 inch. It was supposed to be pulling from like a 12-inch
Yeah,
height, but those weights were so heavy that they were sinking in the pads. So I
yeah,
think we're actually pulling from like standard height.
9 inch. Yeah, it looked like
Yeah.
that to me as well. I mean, and plus, because you were obviously you were raised up on like a wooden block as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
So it looked like a normal deadlift. Yeah, not a normal kind of deadlift there. And obviously with Magnus, there's no figure eight straps. There was no
Yeah.
deadlift suits, was there, or anything like that? It was just
Yeah.
pretty raw, outside as well, obviously.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was excellent. So second place there, and then you went into the arm over arm, which was the lifting that kind of on a crane, wasn't it? Basically, like an
Hmm.
arm over arm, lifting like a wrecking ball up. Um,
Yeah.
is that something that's a good event for you usually, or were you?
That was the worst I've ever done on that event. I was expecting to win that event. I think I just let my pride get the best of me. Because
Yeah.
even in warm-ups, we were lifting just the wrecking ball without like the extra 15 kilo or whatever they added to it.
Mm.
And I was like, no, we need to add more weight. That's not enough weight, and I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was just going to smoke that event.
Mm.
And humbled me very quickly. So
Yeah.
I
And
think it's the
that's what,
rain. The longer we stayed out there, it was kind of drizzling a little bit, and the
mm.
rope was getting on the ground. So I think the last guys that went kind of got a little bit of a wet rope.
Yeah. And it's, yeah. And I
So,
mean,
but
the
I was
hand.
expecting to. I was very disappointed in myself for not finishing that, actually.
Yeah, but and the hands, it must have been because that's like, and it's not like on a kind of a ratchet system or anything, is it? If you
Mhm.
you
No.
pull and then you have to get the other arm in front, but if you let go at all, it just goes, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
some people were kind of pulling it up, say, I'll do it in feet rather than meters. They're pulling it up, say 3 feet, and then dropping it down a foot, and then pulling
Yeah.
it up 3 feet and dropping it down a foot, and it just looked like soul destroying, when you're putting
Mhm.
as much effort as you physically can into it and it's
And the
barely
lift has like a
moving.
little bit of a bounce. So I think if
Yeah,
you can get with that cadence of the bounce, it'll kind of help you. But I
yeah,
lost that cadence about halfway up. And so
yeah,
then I was kind of fighting it. And your
yeah,
grip just goes so fast on that I was squeezing as hard as I could and the rope was just burning through my fingers. I was trying to like
yeah,
squeeze it with my arm and
yeah,
oh, it was
yeah.
brutal. That was brutal.
So that was kind of taking you back to some of your days as a lineman, working in like the terrible conditions outside and things, do we? And then when we switched to in Reykjavik to the church there, which I can't. Can you pronounce the name of the church, Pete? You're quite good with languages and
No, I've been there, but I'm not
yeah.
quite good with languages. Like
Well, I
since
don't
when?
know. I think you're well. You're. I mean, you're quite cultured. You're more cultured
Oh,
than
I'm
me.
a. Oh, right. Oh,
But
obviously, yeah.
Hall's Grimler, blah, 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 something.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been there. Yeah, that's the
yeah,
the spiky one, isn't it? The one
yeah. The
that goes down.
huge,
Yeah,
because I
the
mean
top of the hill.
that was
Yeah.
iconic, wasn't it? Being outside there and doing the last two events of the
Hmm.
competition,
That was
and it was
awesome.
quite good because obviously it was a Saturday afternoon in the centre of the sort of city, and you had lots of tourists around, kind of coming to visit the kind of
Mhm.
church, and then they were seeing, and then so they got to be quite a big crowd for those last two events. So you did the throwing bags, and I think you completed all the bags, didn't you,
Yep.
with that one? Yeah. And but do you know where you placed in that event? I can't remember off
I
the top
got third on that event.
third. Yeah.
Maxine crushed it. Palamy crushed it.
Yeah.
I knew I could finish the bags, but it wouldn't be fast. In training, I trained almost like Velius throws and
Yeah.
just throw, and try to be really fast. But I knew it was going to get to a certain weight where I had to be pretty fresh to throw those heavier bags.
Yeah.
So I took my time, and the goal was to throw all the bags because I figured that would place well.
Yeah, because I think the heaviest was maybe 32 kilos, or I think it started like, was it 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, or 30? There was 7 or 8 bags. There was 8 bags, I
Eight
think. So
bags.
it was a lot
Mhm.
of bags. Yeah, so it was 32. So that's, yeah. So like you say, by the time you get to the last two or three, they're getting
Mhm.
heavy and you're fatiguing as well, obviously. So yeah, that
And
was
it's
that.
raining, your hands are wet. If you
Yeah.
watch before I throw the last bag, I wipe my hands off to try to get them a little bit drier.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was very, very good. And then and then those beautiful logs to finish on the log
Hmm.
press that were made by Richard Looney, who was there as well, from Ireland. Yeah, those logs were absolutely beautiful, weren't they?
Yeah, that was my first time actually pressing on a wood log.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I thought it was awesome. That's probably my worst event.
yeah,
So I was
yeah.
very stressed going into that event.
Well, how many did you get? Did you get three, or
I
did you
got
get?
two.
You got two. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that and like you say, it's the end of you've done 8 events over 2 days. The last event, it was raining as well, wasn't it? At this point, and it was wet, and yeah, It was, but you'd obviously done enough to come away with the win at the end.
Mhm.
How did that feel? Like going to Iceland. Did you? I mean, did you visualize? Did you, in your wildest dreams, did you imagine that you would go and actually win the whole thing? I mean,
I
would that?
knew I could,
Yeah.
but I didn't think it was going to be Jordy pushing me. I thought it
Mm,
was going to be Justin Laguerre or
yeah.
Lucas.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
knew I had to be 10 points ahead of Lucas going into that event to be able to beat him,
Mm,
just in case I got pretty much last and just in case he won, which is what happened pretty much.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I knew
Yeah.
I had to have a huge point spread on him going into that event. So that was my goal for the rest of the competition is grow this point spread for
Mm.
my worst event at the end.
Well, like you say, you had the best possible start, didn't you, with two event wins, which was
Hmm.
great. And so in the end, it was you first. Was it Jordan second and
Jordy,
Lucas
yep,
third? Yeah.
yep.
So I mean, but going to that comp, I mean, with like Lucas Hatton there, with Maxime Bedreau, kind of high level. I suppose what you'd say is they're kind of recognizable kind of strongmen on the world scene, aren't they? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And to go away there and to win in the fashion that you did, in that iconic finish in Iceland, in the city in front of the church there. Um, I mean, must have just been the kind of the crowning
Maybe the
experience.
best backdrop of a podium I've seen, honestly. That
Yeah,
backdrop was pretty epic.
amazing, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah. And will you go back if you're invited to go back? Because I think Magnus often invites like the winner, back again to kind of defend the title and stuff. Is that something you'd consider doing again?
Yes, I would go
Yes.
back. The only way I won't go back is one of my best friends is getting married next November, so hopefully the dates line up just right. But
Okay.
but
Get them
yeah, I
to
do
do it
plan
in
on going
Iceland.
back.
Yeah, get him to
Yeah,
do
that's
it in Iceland.
right.
Destinations weddings are the new thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be because I know that they obviously I think because Maxime's won before, hasn't he? There.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember all the I think Rongo Key
Rongo's
maybe
won it,
won before.
Maxime's won it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, last year was
Mateus,
obviously yeah, Mateusz Kieliszkowski won it
Tristan
last year.
Hoth.
Oh, Tristan, yeah, won it. That's
Yeah,
probably it 'cause I think it's been about 5 years it's
yeah,
been
that
on.
was
So
the fifth
that's
winner.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's all the winners. Yeah. So no, it'd be brilliant. And are you hoping? I mean, I don't know. Is in America it's obviously different, but do you know about sort of like a lot about Giants Live and the kind of events that they do over
I
here?
do.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for a Giants invite, but I really want a Worlds invite because I think I can do well with the way Giants and Worlds are set up.
Yeah.
So I think I could do well. So right now I'm just kind of putting my head down, training, training, training. Hopefully I get an invite or reserve invite, something like that. And
Yeah.
so if I
Because
do get that
no,
invite, I'll be ready.
yeah, no, because I was thinking, because obviously you had Colin Bryce there, you had Darren Sadler there, Magnus obviously there, and everyone saw you do as well as you did. So I think yeah, I mean, Giants Live, the shows they do over here in the UK, the one that I go to every year is the one in the Royal Albert Hall in London, in July, which is just iconic. It's like are you aware of do you know the Royal Albert Hall in London? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's literally, hundreds of years old, just amazing venue to compete in. They used to do strongman in there back in like the Victorian, era, and it's just got so much history there.
Mhm.
And some of the huge shows they do over here, and then like you say, World's Strongest Man would be amazing as well. Yeah, because I think Paddy's got his place for the Worlds next year,
Mhm.
already to go out there. I think he finished fifth last year in the final, which he did
Yeah.
amazing because we interviewed him back in February.
Does he automatically I don't know that he does,
Yeah, and he
Really?
has. He's qualified earlier
Has
this
he?
year
All
for
right.
next year. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I
Did
think
he
he played. I think it's he either podiumed in the Brits or
I think he
Europe.
podiumed at a Giants, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's qualified for next year already. Yeah.
It might have been the Royal Albert Hall one then, because he was at that, wasn't he? Anyway,
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
I
he
can't
did. Yeah. He
remember.
yeah he podiumed there as
Yeah,
well. I think he'd
because he's still
already.
he's still doing Britain's Strongest Man in
Yeah.
January,
Well, he
February,
wants to
because
win.
I'm going to that.
Yeah, he wants to win. Yeah, that's the first weekend in February, I think.
It
or
is, yeah, yeah.
second. Yeah, because he wants to win the Brits this year. Because he came second, I think, last year, second or
He
third
came
last year.
he came fourth.
Did he? Oh, okay.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
which is why he had to go and win. He had to go and do Europe's
yeah.
because he came fourth because he was half a point. It was Shane Flowers,
Oh, it was
um,
what's his name? Andrew Flynn, wasn't it?
Shane Flowers, Flynn, and I can't remember who won it. Um, and then he was fourth, which
Was
is
it
why he
Luke?
had to do
No, it wasn't
Europe's.
Luke. It wasn't Luke Richardson, was it? I can't remember, but it might have been Luke Richardson.
I
I get
can't remember. I
confused,
was there
but
as
yeah.
well. I can't
Anyway,
remember.
anyway,
Anyway,
yeah. But no, that would be amazing if you get an invite to Giants Live, or like you say, World's Strongest Man would be incredible. And it's funny because I've got your autograph photo on the wall at the gym now, and I was training some people earlier today and said, look, we're talking to him later, and I showed them the picture, So yeah, it's
Yeah.
brilliant. Oh no, well that would be amazing. I really. So what is your next goal? Like you said, you're putting your head down, you're training hard. What's the next kind of comp that you've got sort of in the diary?
Oh man, it's funny you asked that. So there's no definites right now because I haven't gotten any invites. But as of right now, I'm just gonna try to work on weaknesses.
Mm,
I'm gonna try to make my legs a lot stronger, my core a lot stronger, put on a little bit of good mass. So I actually did the Magnus very light, lighter than I've done any other shows. I actually competed at the Magnus like 350 pounds. So I
mm,
need to get back up to about 375, 380.
mm,
I just lost too much weight during prep because I wasn't paying attention to it.
mm.
So I was actually worried about that. I actually got as low as like 340 pounds during prep. So like the last few weeks, I was just shoveling food, trying to put that weight back on. And but I wouldn't mind doing like the Siberian Power Show. That's
Mm,
into March. That all depends on whether or not I get a World's invite, which is
mm,
April.
mm,
I would love that because I would almost be like the hometown guy this year at Worlds because it's in
mm,
Myrtle Beach, which is like 2 states over.
mm,
So it's like half a day drive. So I would have a ton of people there supporting me, and that would be really cool. And
mm.
that's been the end goal since I've started the sport, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, if that doesn't happen, then maybe North America's if I get an invite for that. If I don't get an invite for that, then maybe a Giants because those start around July, right? Something like that. Besides
Yeah, well,
everything that,
yeah, yeah, because obviously the British is obviously only for
yeah.
British, and the European is
I
obviously
wouldn't
only for
mind doing the
European.
deadlift
So,
world championships because I've never really maxed my deadlifting competition. I've always
mm.
wanted to shoot for a really big deadlift, but I've never really had that opportunity. I'm not going to do that just randomly in training.
Because that's quite late in the year. That's usually September, October, isn't it? That's
Hmm
kind of yeah, because that was where Thor obviously did the 510 this year, wasn't it?
hmm
So, or last year, so that's quite late in the year, September, October time.
I
So,
just want to draw everyone who's listening's attention to what Levi's just said there as well. There is no point in trying to max his deadlift out in training because it's too
mm,
dangerous and too like well not dangerous, but like you don't want to hurt yourself. Because
mm.
that's what most people do in the gym, isn't it? They just go down there and try and max everything out in one go and then hurt
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
Like, see, all these strongmen don't do that. They don't care
Yeah.
about
Or even
it.
like you say, in competition, you've never really maxed it out because you've not done a max lift. It's usually a
Even
deadlift for reps, isn't it? So,
even like competition deadlifts, like going into the Magnus, I only trained that specific deadlift once during
mm,
peak week. And other than that, I was pulling from the floor off of an axle, all percentage based, after squats,
mm,
stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't see any I've never really been pushed and I have done max deadlifts in competition before, but they're not at that level. So I
mm.
was just hitting a number to get the points that I needed basically.
Yes, you weren't actually maxing out, like maxing. Yeah. So if you had to estimate what you feel around what your max deadlift would be from like a normal 9-inch deadlift on a proper deadlift bar and everything
Suited?
else?
Suited or non-suited?
Well, suited because I suppose that's what you would do in
Okay,
the
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'm confident. I've never had to do it, but I'm confident in 400 plus kilo right now.
Okay.
That's not training it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Brilliant. Yeah. So what's £1,000? It's like 457. Or Paddy did it, didn't he? At the last comp.
That's one of my goals before I retire from the sport is I want to pull 1,000 pounds. So I
Yeah.
think I can do it.
Yeah, about 400. I think it's 457 or 454. Yeah, around that kind of kilos. Yeah. So yeah, that would be
I
fantastic.
think I've just something's just come into my head, and I don't know why, but it's funny. Is that most people in strongmen are either trying to pull £1,000 or make £1,000? Because it's like there was never any money in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's great. And you mentioned your wife as well. What was your wife's name again? Sorry, Levi.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, because I met Rebecca. She was obviously out in Iceland as well. I didn't realize that she is a pro strong woman as well.
Yep, she's
Yeah,
a pro strong woman.
yeah.
She's kind of taking a step back from it. She's trying to start her own business.
Hmm.
And but yeah, she was seventh in North Americas in 2024 and fifth in the United States at a pro
Yeah,
level. So
yeah. Wow. And how old are your two kids that you've got?
they just turned 5 and 3.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Yeah,
So, well, I shouldn't say, are they looking forward to Christmas because it's the new year, but don't worry.
yeah, it's New Year.
You nearly gave the
It's
game
Christmas
away
was
there.
great.
nearly gave the game away. Nearly gave the game away. Anyway, but I'll tell you what, Levi, that's been lovely talking to you. That really has, and I really thank you for I know you're a busy guy, and giving your time to speak to us today has been really really good. Now, if people do want to follow you, follow your journey in what you're doing in strongman and things like that, what is the best place for people? Where are you most active on social media? Is it like Instagram? Is it
I'm trying to
YouTube?
grow
Is
my
it?
Instagram, so it'll be at Levi Strong on
Yeah,
Instagram.
brilliant. At
And
Levi Strong.
yeah,
And you were going to say something else as well? Where you was there somewhere else or?
hopefully I'll have a YouTube up soon. I've been wanting to start a YouTube presence. I
Mm,
haven't yet, but hopefully
yeah.
that'll be up soon.
Yeah, so if everybody goes to at Levi Strong and gives Levi a follow, and then when he does get his YouTube up and running, then you'll find out about it on there, I'm sure.
Mhm.
I'm sure you will on there. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Levi. And
Been a pleasure.
yeah, I mean, if you do get an invite over to Giants Live, I'm sure we'll see you.
Mhm.
If you're in Iceland next year, I'm sure I'll see you out there again next year if you're there. And hope all the best. Hope you get the invite to Worlds and everything else. Like I say, I know that you performed at the highest level right in front of all the right people. To put you on the
Mhm.
path to those shows. So yeah, well done. That was brilliant. Right, guys, thank you. That was the first episode of 2026, and what a good start that was. Okay, so we will be back next week for episode 280. And that will be, like we've mentioned, that will be the third strongman kind of guest in a row. That will be with Paddy Haynes, who is the current uh, record holder for the Husafell Stone. But Levi is on his tail, and Levi wants to break that record. So Paddy's on with us next week. Paddy is the current England's strongest man. Last year he was fifth in the world's strongest man as well. And if you've been watching all the kind of strongman over Christmas on the TV in England, you will have seen lots of Paddy on your TV screens over Christmas and New Year. Yeah. So
Oh,
thank
we
you.
can say who won it now as well because it's been on.
Yes, Mr. Rayno now from South Africa. Yeah, thank you everybody for watching and listening. Please do like, share, subscribe, leave a review if you're watching or listening on a platform that allows you to do so, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts, give us a review. On Spotify, give us 5 stars. And if you don't yet follow us on YouTube, go on and subscribe to us there. So thank you very much, Levi.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Peter Lance.
You're welcome.
And if these backdrops are the wrong way round, next week we will have sorted it out. So
They're not. They're not. Honestly,
They're
James,
not.
it's fine. Don't worry
Okay,
about it.
right, okay. Anyway, we will see you next week. Until then, bye-bye.